November 7th, 2016. Today is Monday. That means it's time for Maelstrom Radio.
Maelstrom Radio. With your hosts, Flats and Shinter.
Stop that. We're playing twice. Hi.
Third time's always the charm.
Haven't. Welcome to Maelstrom Radio. My name is Flatus. With me, my co-host Shin. Hi Shin, how are you? Your Mac decided to say fuck the show.
Yeah, you can't win with it sometimes. And surprise, had a long update. I actually turned on my laptop about an hour ago, and we just got it working about 5-10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
It's great times.
So
But everything's good now.
Yeah. So we had a long weekend.
We had a very long weekend. It's almost like it was an extra hour longer there.
Yes. Yes and no. We fell back an hour, but really, we stood up longer. You tight. For those of you who didn't know what was going on this weekend, besides BlizzCon.
What?
Yeah, that was the thing that happened. It was like it was that thing that was lackluster, but people still went to it and are like, "All right, I guess we're here. Might as well look for all the cosplays." Extra Life happened this weekend, and besides, everyone else on the internet who was gaming for 24 hours, which was optional. Went to the website. It's like you don't have to. You can break it up. I was like, no, he did it anyway. We streamed for Extra Life. This is also going into our news. And we had a goal of 300. We hit 265, but that doesn't stop us from still trying to get you to give us money for children. So, through our show, we have a lovely bot that will every little bit, every half hour. So you'll probably see at the beginning of the show, or probably see at the end of the show. You might see it pop up in chat to the donate button. Go and donate. We'd like to beat the goal, but we'll have it going on until we can't have it up no longer. So
Yeah, we'll continue trying to. We'll keep streaming on Maelstrom Radio and possibly our personal channels as well. And I believe the Extra Life goal will continue until the end of this year. So far, I think we've raised over $6.5 million, which is amazing. I remember about 6 years ago, we were really excited when we broke 1 million. So it's come a long, long way since that.
Yep. So, congratulations to a lot of, I think Living Break Radio hit their goal. Joe Never Fails was, I'm not sure, he was going for 10K. So, I think Mr. Happy he was at he split his weekends up. I think he hit half his goal, if not more. I think throughout the week people were still going to donate. So It's completely for a great cause. It's for the Children's Miracle Network through Extra Life, and I mean, you couldn't ask for a better gamers coming together playing video games for a good cause, and you can't ask for a better way to spend 24 hours. Like my loss of sleep was totally worth it. So also I got to play Undertale, so that makes I got to pet a doggo and his head grew above the screen, and then it bent back over to the other side of the screen. Also, we found out with Jerry. I can't hear you, and I'm not sure why.
Because I haven't queued my mic.
Oh, okay. I shouldn't be looking at the Twitch stream to see if you... Let me move the cameras so I can see you actually talking, so I don't confuse myself. That doesn't help. Wait a minute. Don't fake me out.
But it was so much fun.
You're just fucking with me. It's not good.
Gotta start early.
Well, there's not much Final Fantasy XIV news. Patch 3.4.5 came out last week. We didn't do much of it. Although we had like all day on a Saturday to kind of do it, but we just didn't do it. We were doing other things.
We did do some things though. We did a lot of things.
Just not those things.
We didn't quite get to Palace of the Dead, unfortunately. We were missing one person.
Yes, I got kicked out of a raid. Almost twice.
Yep. I left two raids. The raiding community in Final Fantasy is not as friendly as the rest of the community, it seems.
I wouldn't say the raiding community. I would say the random pickup group community is, and yes, I wouldn't say the majority. I just that asshole.
We had a couple people that were just generally in like the normal groups that I see. There's not a lot of angry people, but yeah, that's two raids and two very, very angry people.
They were some salty motherfuckers in Lost City. You, by the way, you forget one mechanic. I don't remember the guy's name. I tweeted it out, but that guy, fucking MVP, super champ, was like, "Yo, dude, he like give him one chance, give him one more shot." I honestly, here's the thing, and I'm not gonna be the guy who's like, I'm perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm human. I make mistakes. I forgot what Ozma did on the cube stage, and I was running around. To be fair, most of everybody behind me was running around like their chickens with their heads cut off, because I don't think everybody knew the fucking fight. So I was like, all right, everyone's running around, so I might as well fucking dodge lasers and shit. But I forgot that they track on the tank, and I was tanking, and well, I may have killed a lot of people. But honestly, it was a mistake. Like, it was a mistake. So we re-queued, we dropped, and we re-queued. Well, I got kicked. Everybody else dropped that I was playing with. We re-queued. We went to another one. Same thing. Like, it got to a point where I had to tell people, I was like, listen. Like everybody was trying to throw blame, and then got to a point where it's like, the tank's not even holding it. I was like, listen. First of all, let's take a step back and let's analyze the situation. I was at Atmos. I was grabbing all three things, and nobody was attacking Atmos. So do you want me to hold aggro on two ads while everybody's not attacking, where we should all be killing Atmos first and then just go and wipe everything else out real quick? Nobody was doing that. Because if you kill the ads first, guess what? They're just going to fucking spawn more ads. Might as well just kill Atmos first. Guy rated for fucking shit ton of years in other MMOs knows how to do some shit. So, like, everybody needs to just cool their shit. Like, if you're... Listen, if you think, like, hey, I'm not an asshole, and you decide that, hey, listen, I'm going to give people, like, shit that needs to learn, maybe take a step back and just explain, hey, listen, do you need to know? Hey, I see where you made a mistake. Because if you just help somebody out for 2 seconds, guess what? This shit'll go so much quicker. It really will. Like, our second pull, like, Shin had to drop because his gear broke, but
it wasn't enough that we like completely wiped tons of times in the first round. That we also wiped a ton of times in the second round.
Someone gave you shit for that too. They're like, you didn't pre-heal. It's like we were first of all I almost would be like, hey bro, we're streaming for Extra Life, asshole. Trying to,
You're
doing
live on stream. Have fun.
yeah, right, like fucker. Like, we're doing something good for the kids. I'm sorry we forgot to repair. We're trying to entertain and shit. Ugh. Yo, just take the fucking permanent wedgie out of your ass. And just play the game. Have fun. What happened to having fun? Fuck.
No fun.
No.
Only Ozma.
Yeah. It's about right. What happened? What happened to games? Remember we just come home and be like, I want to play Super Mario Brothers. It was fun. Now it's like, fucking, you're like, why is it that Princess Peach doesn't get her own video game? Oh my god, she had one of her own. It was on DS. She just didn't play it. Just saying. I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm probably pissing somebody off on the internet right now.
You're not doing your job right if you're not pissing someone off on the internet.
I do that really well. Speaking of pissing people off on the internet, Redmond, I guess we should really talk about our thing. So, oh yeah, I got one more piece of news.
I thought that's the other podcast.
No. What? Oh, the other one? No. That's probably this one. We probably pissed. Well, I don't know. I think people like us. We keep getting. By the way, thank you to all the podcasts who keep giving us shout outs. Because we're two fucking idiots to about Final Fantasy 14. Also, I'd like to point out that my up to scale, like, I didn't change the background photo, and I really shouldn't have done that, but, screw it. I got a cute vampire lady, which is probably just an imp in disguise, which is sad. So, it's always Halloween now. Halloween for life. Here on Maelstrom Radio. All Halloween, all day. So, we solemnly swear to have iTunes up this week. We really fucking dropped the ball. But to be fair, we really were getting ready for Extra Life. So
There's a lot of life prep.
So kids in hospitals needing money. iTunes for everyone else. We promised to have it up this week. Sorry. We will have it up this week, and you'll get to listen to our smooth jazz tones in your. I can do the NPR, like, thank you for joining us on Maelstrom Radio. My name is Flatus, and Shin with me. We discuss. No, I don't. I would love to do an NPR version of
like the audio podcast. That would probably be really great.
It's just like an NPR Maelstrom Radio NPR edition, where it's just like you and I whispering into mics, like, yeah, it was a lot of fun. That raid was very interesting, very exciting.
I might have to actually listen to some NPR first.
I can give you some listen. There's a great NPR podcast called Radio Lab. Shout out to Radio Lab. They don't need it because they have like 50 to 60K like listeners. So they did this great episode called the La Mancha Screwjob, and they took like these two separate things that wouldn't go together and made it like into a show. It was like the I'm not kidding. It was the can't remember what city in Canada. It was like the old WWF Screwjob for can't remember his name. Bret Hart. And it's not the Toronto Screwjob. I know that's not it. I'm gonna remember the name. It's gonna suck. But he was in his hometown, and they screwed him, like legit screwed. It wasn't like a part of the show. Like it was really, they really did fuck him over because they found out he was going to WCW, and they somehow turned it into a Don Quixote thing. Like they roped it into Don Quixote. I don't know why I'm talking about this. It's nothing to do with it. Listen, just go listen to that Radio Lab episode. It's really good. It's just called La Mancha Screwjob. It's so interesting. Go listen to that. You'll end up listening to all their shows. It's really, like, they take really cool things and do something cool with it. Um, something. And speaking of something cool, taking something that may not have anything to do with anything and then turning it into something cool. Guess what we're doing? I'm gonna say that I'm going to say that we may be the first podcast that probably could prove that. I'm gonna throw us on the line and say that I believe that we could prove that Red Mage can be a melee healer. Because
That might be a bit of a stretch, but okay.
Because there are other MMOs that can do it, and we've played them.
That's very true, but are red mages not typically a melee healer?
Are they not? Because they use rapiers.
But do they heal?
They can. You can use white mage and black mage spells. So yes.
Wouldn't that just make them way too overpowered for this system?
You would think.
Like you get this fancy red mage coming in with like fire 3 or fire 4, or do they? I don't know how many fires they have. I don't play a black mage, but like this massive fireball spell. And then you come in with a white mage with like Medica 2 and just like massively heal while absolutely destroying the DPS.
Well, glad you asked. Because I'm going to give you a little bit of history. For anybody that's never... for anybody that's new to Final Fantasy, and like Final Fantasy 14 is your first MMO, and you're new to Final Fantasy in general, but you really like cat people, this episode's for you. Because you're getting a little bit of a history episode.
Not about cat people, though.
No. I don't know what to tell you about those. I mean, I could tell you about some Ara. Some of them I know bang horses. That's canon. I can't take that back.
And that's the show, everybody. Good night.
What? It's in the lore book. You can find that out. There's a sect of Ara that and my Ara is not that sect, but they marry opposite gendered horse, like males marry female horses. I'm not sure how like they breed and like continue to like their lines of generation, but they marry horses. It's no weirder than Gulliver's Travels, where he was like, horse people, I'm banging horses.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So, what did we learn today? Gulliver's Travels. So far, we learned we're really terrible at getting iTunes up. We are great at streaming for 25 hours. And we've somehow...
Most of 25 hours.
Yeah, and most. And we somehow made Aura in relation to Gulliver's Travels and Horsebanging. So, this is atypical, Maelstrom Radio episode. I feel bad, anybody listening to this live right now. Sure, there's...
So, Final Fantasy.
Yeah. So glad. Anybody... I'm gonna go back and listen to this and be like, why did I say that shit? So, red mages typically cast both black and white mage magic. They can also wield swords and equip armor for armor that normal black and white mages cannot. So, they are in essence among the more versatile characters of the series. However, their versatility comes at a price. Their stats are usually low. They cannot cast higher level spells, use stronger equipment. They can learn many spells, but they're not the strongest. And equip some heavy armor, but not all of it, though. And are often regulated to cloth armor. So, normally in the Final Fantasy series, the Red Mage is the jack of all trades, and the master of none. In certain games, though, Red Mages have special abilities like Dual Cast, which boosts their spell casting efficiency. The standard Red Mage attire consists of red, black, and white clothing, including a red cloak. Like, very, I can't think of the name. What's that EQ2 character class with like the fancy like rapiers and
The Troubadour?
Yeah, like kind of like a troubadour, kind of like haha, like what ho, like that's that's what I think of Red Mage, like the guy who's going to like with his rapier slice the chandelier rope and fly into the sky. That's what I believe a Red Mage is. Like, he's got a little bit of magic. He's kind of your like swashbuckler. In older...
They had one of those too.
Yeah, they did. They did have one of those. But this time, Final Fantasy XIV kind of takes what we know about the classes and changes them up a bit. Um, we can't. I don't want to say we can look at Final Fantasy XI and say that's how that's going to play. We can't even look at the series and say that's how that's going to play. I think that they're going to look at the series and say, like, it would be cool to give it the ability to do Black Mage and White Mage stuff. And I doubt. They've said that they don't want to do something like the Scholar and Summoner again. It's really, they said it's just too hard to balance. And I get it. Like they could phone it in, right? They could really phone it in and say, the red mage can equip such weapon like a rapier and it's DPS, and if it equips this, it's a healer, right? So let's say they did that. Let's save that for last. I'm gonna save that. I'm gonna hold that thought, put it to the end. Let's jump in. So you and I have both played many different MMOs. I'm familiar with and I'm familiar with Warcraft, and Paladins in Warcraft can melee heal, like they're melee healers. Specifically, the Holy Paladin uses a hammer usually, and goes bink and heals, bink and heals. In Legion, they changed it up. It's all aura based. Damage you put out is equal to the healing that is done. It's like you may not do high damage, but you're doing high healing. Like, it's not a 1-to-1. It's almost like I do 1 damage and like 4 healings or whatever it is go out. So it's kind of like what we said earlier. Like, it's a low damage. Like, it's not like you're doing that Black Mage sort of damage, but you are doing a little bit. So, that being said, do you think that it is feasible for the Red Mage to be a rapier carrying melee healing class in this game specifically? Because you can even look at Rift and look at how clerics worked, and clerics could melee heal.
They could, yes. I think it would be a little bit more difficult in Final Fantasy, particularly because of the way that they've done the class system. Like, all of the classes, though, you have a very strong set of tanks, DPS, and healers. Like, there's no real cross between the two of them. You don't get white mages that go out in DPS. Well, you do, but you don't get them who can constantly put out the same DPS as DPS while still healing an entire group. Like, it's not, the class isn't designed as a DPS class. If you want a DPS, you will bring another DPS with you. And I think if you tried to, if you had a class that did both of them, that class would be suddenly one of the best classes out there, and everyone would be like, yeah, I'm going to roll that class, and that class would be in everything, which just removes the use for all the other classes. And at the same time, if they're now fulfilling multiple roles, if they're doing it equally as well as other classes, they're going to be better than every other class. But if they're not doing it as good as the other classes, then you get kind of a half-assed on both things, which just no one would want that, period. So even though you're very versatile, there's no real room for you in a 4-man or 8-man party.
True.
Unlike like WoW and EQ2 as well, they didn't focus so much, I think, on the holy trinity of classes, or the 4 types as they both, I think, used to go off of at least. Whereas Final Fantasy very much sticks to that trinity of a tank, healer, and DPS. So, well, the other ones, like everyone DPS plus does a secondary job. Tanks will tank and DPS. Healers will heal and DPS. Like, there's a bit of both for all of them.
It's true. You're right. That also plays into the playstyle of like WoW, for instance, where you don't do. For Final Fantasy, there's a lot of where it's like I may start doing damage, but then I'm gonna cast a offensive or a defensive buff to make sure that I live through what's coming up. I see a big hit coming, I'm gonna cast defensive. Where in WoW, a lot of that stuff is insta cast, and you're constantly casting. And that's where that like Final Fantasy is slow. It's not like I don't know. Like I feel like the speed's about the same because I'm constantly not everything is I don't know on the global cooldown. Some of my stuff isn't. So, um, that being said, like the paladin, the way they're I see what you mean. Like I really do. Like everyone's putting out damage, like because you all have to meet this. Like to kill. Really, all right. Let me explain kind of like a raid situation. I know it's weird. Explain like for people that don't know, like really legitimate people that have never played WoW. Like the whole goal in Warcraft is to kill the boss, which I know is the goal in Final Fantasy. Like we try to kill the boss, but in Final Fantasy there are tighter mechanics the bosses have versus in WoW you may get away with some stuff. Like you could be like, oh, okay, I got hit with the goo. Oh well, my healer knows. Well, you got hit with the goo. Screw it. I mean, I can heal you through it and it'll be fine. We'll pick back up. Where that may kill you. Like Nidhogg, for example, you step in hot one, you're pretty much gone. Like you're dead. Like you take that much damage, you're kind of dead. Like your healer may pull your ass out of it, but they may not. They may not have enough heals, or they just blew something big to get somebody else up to full, like a tank, for example, or the other healer. And if you're DPS, because there's a tighter restriction on party makeup. Um, so in that aspect, Shin's right. Like you can't have a class that's weaker in that. Like, all right, he's putting out DPS, but if his heals aren't on par with a white mage, or even just like even on par, well, actually, they fixed them. So yeah, like on par with any of the other healers, you're kind of fucked. So I agree with him there. But since they're redoing the classes, like the system itself, could they make it work? Is it something they're like, hey, in Stormblood, this is going to be able to work now?
I think that would be a really massive overhaul to all the classes, like at a fundamental level, which would require rebalancing everything. And I don't think that's quite what they're going for with Stormblood. Like
I
you're talking about changing the way that Final Fantasy plays, and I think that would go over really poorly with a lot of people.
I can't do the thing no more. Some people, I don't want to be rude, but
As a healer, if I suddenly am required to DPS,
yeah.
DPS would really they would hate me anyway because I DPS more than I heal anyways. But I feel like a lot of healers wouldn't like that change.
I agree. I mean,
I know it's a huge thing with, especially with WoW players coming in and be like, as a healer, you must also DPS. Like, no, my job is to keep you alive. If you're alive, then I'm doing my job. If you don't like how I'm doing it, you don't have to have heals.
Yeah, and also, I mean, there's a lot of like stuff. Like my warrior had an aura that like gave everybody the ability that whatever damage they were going out, they were getting like a percentage back in heals. So there was other stuff to help pick up healing in the raid, where I don't have that. Like I have a lot of defensive stuff for me, where it's like I can put up shields that like give me 20% less damage based on magic attacks, or based on physical, I get 10%, like stuff like that, where it's like, all right, cool, like I'm helping you the healers out by keeping myself a little like a little less dead. So it's rough. I if we're going based on a melee healer, could it be done? Yes. How they would do it, I have no idea. Based in this game, I have no idea how they would do it. Other games have done it. I mean, WoW does it. Like I said, WoW does it really well. Like one of the top healers right now is the Holy Paladin, but the way WoW plays is different. Rift, I had a cleric, but I remember it doing TPS and not.
There was a spec, at least way back at the beginning, that could DPS and heal at the same time, but I think it was more useful for group content rather than raid content. I don't remember any of us have. I think actually we might have had one melee healer.
Did it work well, or was it like, good job, man, you're doing it?
I think it worked well, but I think we could only have one of them in the raid. We needed the skills from the other classes that didn't synchronize well with the melee healer. So if the melee healer could really heal, I guess that group well, possibly, but I don't know if they had cures or something. I don't remember exactly the scenario. It was a couple years ago, but I distinctly remember that it was a really powerful healer. Or maybe it was really powerful for solo, but just not really good with groups.
What if they had auras or something they could put out that said, I'm doing healing at a baseline, but I'm also giving a buff to my party or to the white mages or the other healers or the tank or somebody or something that's like what my warrior does, where it's like it's a percentage of their healing, like whatever damage everyone else is putting out, they get back. Like for tanks, let's say if there was a buff they could give them, like, all right, a percentage of the damage you take will be given back to you as heals. Where it's like, all right, I can still do a little bit of DPS, I can do a little bit of heals, but I can also buff and I'll make up my healing that way. Could it work then?
So I still think it would be a massive change fundamentally to the way that the classes are. I mentioned it slightly earlier, but I think Final Fantasy sticks very, very strictly to the holy trinity of healer, tank, DPS. Whereas other games, particularly EverQuest 2, and I think WoW as well, at least in the beginning, had kind of 4 items in that list. They had their tank, healer, DPS, but they also had a very, very strong support or control role. I know the Enchanter back with EQ1, the Bard to some extent, similarly in EQ2, the Enchanter classes, the Bard classes, they had these strong support roles, and their main role was to make everyone better. They also ended up having secondary pieces as well, but there was enough room for these classes to go with their groups. Like EQ2 had groups of 6 at a time, so you didn't really have that issue. But Final Fantasy has a very strict 4-person party, which is 1 tank, 1 healer, 2 DPS. Taking away any of those spots is going to reduce your capacity to do that skill, which means that you now have to rebalance everything either for a group that has 1 less DPS or doesn't have a dedicated healer or doesn't have a dedicated tank, which I think would just end up really messing up a lot of the balance throughout the game if you have to balance both for and not with support classes.
Yes. Well,
this is as someone who absolutely loves support classes, and I really, really wish we had support classes because those are what I play.
I know how to ask him questions that gets him going. Anyway, that brings me to Final Fantasy XI. So the good point you bring up, because how red mages worked in Final Fantasy XI is that, like I said before, the white mage, black mage thing, and warriors, they're like, they weren't as good. Like though healing, nuking, and fighting skills weren't as good. They were like, all right, but they were still competent. The real strengths lie in mastery of enhancing and enfeebling skills within their party. So they were a support class. And that being said, we know, like, Klaus, hey Chili, we know Klaus from Phoenix Down Radio, that he's got a red mage tattoo. That is his class. And I mean, whatever it's going to be, we know, like, Klaus is going to play a red mage, like, what, regardless of what it's going to be.
Well, it's a dancer, but
you know, listen, I want to cha-cha and do DPS as much as the next guy, but I don't know if that's a dancer. I really do not. We could talk a little bit if we have time. We'll talk about it.
I don't think so either. I'm just throwing stuff out there.
All right, listen, we're on that bandwagon. If anything, it's Edith's sister. I don't think it's I think it was a ninja, or not a ninja, but a monk. It was a monk. She had a fancier monk moves. That's it. All right, so we'll say red mage as a healer, not possible in the world of Final Fantasy XIV, unless they can somehow make it work. But right now, all right. Well, what if it was ranged and it solved the rapier, and it was just like a magic casting rapier?
Well, I could see it like one thing that I would find would be interesting would be kind of like concept of a battle mage, like someone that used magic but actually was a frontline fighter. Like I could see that being a viable class in Final Fantasy 14. We don't really have that melee magic user,
So,
but
all
it
right.
is a very common one.
So, all right. So we're moving away from healer. We're going into DPS. So,
All the deeps.
so now we're saying the red mage would be more viable as an option as a DPS class because, like we said, that battle mage style class. Like, let's say if it was sales what we saw in Soul Surrender cutscene. At this point, if you've not seen it, I apologize, but spoilers. Like let's say if we see that Alice, I'm sorry, I said you said earlier, Alice, like take the sword out of the book. Let's say if they wield both that sword, that one-handed sword, and a book. Right? Like a little bit of magic, a little bit of DPS, right? Get what I'm saying? Like they still a little bit of I can still like cast some spells out of a book. Like I could see that. Like
Or you can summon weapons. Like
don't fuck with me. That'd be great. You listen. You may have flipped the fucking script on everybody right now.
well, after saying that, there's one concept that I don't think we talked about or even put it in our notes here. What if they could do both?
I said we're gonna hold on to that, but do you want to talk about DPS real quick, and then we'll jump on that?
Okay, let's go there.
Okay. So,
DPS.
all right, let's talk battle mage. So let's say if they're not as magically strong as a black mage, but they make up for it in the melee style, like kind of like
So like pure DPS class that had some sort of black mage-ish magic, but also went and poked it with the stick.
yes, and like their magic enhanced their sword. Kind of like how I read earlier about the enhancing and enfeebling.
Yep.
Instead of it being party wide, like I would like to say maybe there's a couple of buffs or like there's some party buffs in there, but it wasn't like anything that it would be. I'm required to have a red mage in my party. It's like okay, it's cool if it's there, but it's not gonna kill us if it's not. Like it's not a big deal. I'm okay with that. What I'd like to see is I can enhance my sword and it does for like 10 seconds it does extra damage. That would be enhancing. I don't know about the enfeebling part. I don't know how. Unless it was towards the enemy, I would say that would be the. That's how I would think that would work. But really, I don't know. To think that the red mage would be as a battle mage in Final Fantasy 14 is kind of dope. It's really kind of dope. Like the ability to make the weapon like powerful based on the spell book that they would carry in their offhand, which I would love to see. Like I kind of like the idea of like rapier in one hand, spell book in the other. Let's make this work. I think that's really cool. And if that's the case, then you kind of predict like how they would like everything would be kind of melee based or well, it'd be physical magic damage, right? Like I don't know how I would say that, like because bards are physical damage but ranged, so this would be magical damage in a melee format. That's probably how it would work. All right, so I think DPS is pretty self-explanatory with the red mage. A little bit. I don't think there's anything we're missing. What? Now let's talk about the thing we really should talk about. What if they're both?
I think it's so we know that Final Fantasy takes ideas from other MMOs, and other MMOs take ideas from Final Fantasy. It's just kind of things work. One possible interesting concept, and kind of going off the idea of if you could summon different weapons. The weapon is what decides your class in Final Fantasy. If you could summon different weapons, then what's not to say that you have different abilities while you have those weapons?
Remember, I said earlier that they're really not a fan of the dual class, but
if it's not a dual class, if it's a single class that has a book like weapon, but they can either use either unlock abilities that are more suited towards healing or DPS, let's say. So like if you are a red mage that has this item summoned, you are acting as a DPS and vice versa.
You just fucking blew my mind. You just blew it
I
up.
mean, it would probably be just as hard to deal with the whole summoner and scholar piece, but it wouldn't be as weak.
It wouldn't. You're right. It wouldn't be as weak, and they could use staffs. So they did use staffs in Final Fantasy XI. That was something that they could do. So if they could summon a staff, they would do healing, and if they summoned the rapier, they could do DPS, and it would just change their skills on the hotbar to be whatever. Or it could even just change what the abilities do.
Right, exactly.
So you could have one ability set. It would just do different things, like I don't know, like sweep or whatever, like sweeping blow or whatever would be like. Sweeping blow could be like a blow of healing, or sweeping blow would be like a blow of damage.
I think like, sorry.
No, go ahead.
As I say, like maybe saying that they can do both DPS and healing might be a little extreme. Like balancing for that would be really, really hard, unless they would also prevent you from switching while you're in duty. But
I could see that, like lock it up, like you can't.
well, to make it even easier, what if they did it just for they made it a DPS class that let you switch between, say, range and melee?
I may listen. We're entering a territory where, like people may start getting mad at it. Like there's somebody out there like flipping a table right now. They're taking everything I love about Red Mage and throwing it out the window. I don't like it anymore.
I know nothing about red mages apart from what we've talked about today, so I can't throw anything out the window.
Red Mages are saint. They're holy things. I love them. There's some nerd out there that I'm just angered. I hate
As
you.
I said before, we're not doing our jobs if we're not pissing off someone on the internet.
I hate you, Maelstrom Radio. If you do hate us, you can email us at show@administrative.com and let us know.
Remembered the email this time.
Yeah. I do. I know it now. It's sad, but it took me 12 episodes that I remembered it. I may forget every other email now, but I pushed out all the other emails I may know, but this is the one. Anywho, all right. So you really blew up my mind with that. Like one class, it works, but we just summon different weapons. So it's really not.
It's almost like Rift.
It's the opposite of the summoner scholar. It is like Rift. It is a little
Yeah.
bit like Rift. It is a little bit like Rift. But it is the opposite of Summoner Scholar. Like, it's the exact... Like, it does the thing that Summoner Scholar does, except it's like, instead of being 2 from 1, it's 1 from... It's 2 and 1 versus 1 and 2? Is that it? That's the thing, right?
Something like that.
Something like... math? Oh, yeah. So Red Mage should be 2 and 1, where the other ones are 1 coming out of... 2 coming out of... Something along the lines of 2 classes and some shit. Listen, 24 hours a game
It's 2 and 1
for kids. I'm not doing that.
Still a little bit out of it from that 25 hour stream.
Listen,
It's a great stream though.
it was. I made 2 guards fall in love. It was great.
And you killed people.
I tried not to. I really did try avoiding killing people in Undertale. Like, I really did try. It's best of my... I felt terrible about killing Toriel. She made me a pie. Oh, it hurt my heart. Alright. I mean, have we destroyed Red Mage yet? I don't think we destroyed it.
We've done a lot of things to Red Mage. We'll leave it up to you, everyone else, to figure if we destroyed it or not.
I don't know if we've Red Maged it anymore. All right. So how do you? What do you think they'll wear? Is it like a cloth type class? Do you think they'll wear leather? Like I said, they're very like a troubadour. They have that big fancy hat. They're very, like I said, they're very what ho, you know, like slice open and.
I think it's gonna depend on what sort of class they are. Like if they are that melee class, they're going to need something a little bit stronger than paper to withstand that. But on the other side, maybe they are a cloth class, and maybe they have some other like innate sort of defensive abilities, like a magical shield or some sort of protection that they can cast on themselves, or that they just have as part of their class that enhances that cloth. On the other hand, I don't know if it's a great idea to have yet another class that uses the same armor as cloth for all of those of us that are fighting over the current cloth gear.
Truth.
So maybe they'll have if they are a new class, they'll add some new type of gear that's just for red mage, or maybe they'll have something, they'll extend it, or I don't know. If they're melee though, they definitely will need something stronger than our nice little robes.
As long as they have the fancy hat.
Oh, everyone has to have fancy hats.
we,
All about the hat.
we are the ones with the fancy hats. All right.
It's true endgame.
All right. Well, I mean, we have nothing else for Stormblood, and we really don't know how this is all speculation. Like, we don't really have inside info, and if somebody wanted to give us inside info, they probably wouldn't choose us. If they did, it's probably because we were at a bar, like, separately, and we were sitting next to the guy, and knowing how people come to me and just start talking. By the way, if you saw me at FanFest and you talked to me, just, hit us up. You can ask this guy, even at like when I was at like waiting in line for stuff, or like to even go get food, people would just be like, yeah, like just start randomly talking to me, and it could have been the badge, but
elevator lines everywhere, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. I'm that guy, Kappa. So we know melee healing can be done in other MMOs. Is it for Red Mage? I don't know.
It'd be really cool.
It would be really badass if they did it. Do we think Battle Mage would be dope? Hell yes. Yes. Would it be even cooler summoning weapons into both? So cool. Like, if they really wanted, like, we know Yoshi P said, like, listen, we're gonna do something in Stormblood that's never been done in any MMO before. I've never seen that shit in any MMO. So if you really want to blow something up,
well, Rift.
Rift had the souls, though?
It's a similar concept.
Yeah, I guess.
It would still be really awesome, though.
Yeah. But not like one book, and I can just be like, switch the thingy. And then I'm doing the thingies. I'll
just summon a sword out of the book.
I'm doing a lot of thingies. So, alright. That's all we really have for the Red Mage stuff. We could talk a little bit about the dancer slash real quick. All right, just to end it, because I think other shows have talked about it as well. Real quick, is it Ida, or do you think it's someone else?
I really liked the Ida theory originally, but I think I'm gonna go with someone else just because we were at FanFest there and we discussed it a bit, and we're missing tattoos and we're missing a bunch of other different things, and I don't really think it's her. But I do like the idea that it's some relation.
All right, because they do look the same. All right, I'm with you. Also, side note. All right, so a lot of people are like, dancer. Now, late after the show, I'll show you Dance from Final Fantasy XI. It's an easy thing to go find.
Yep, I've seen it.
Oh, you have. All right, so, all right. Do you think Dancer, or do you just think it was a monk that was doing fancier monk moves just because it was cinematic? Because I've seen cinematics for other MMOs, and I've seen the characters in those games do shit I've never seen my character. I know you're a paladin. I've never seen my paladin do that shit. I've never seen my warrior do all that crazy badass stuff you just did. I just think it's just a cinematic showing off some cool. I think they were both monks doing some cool monk fighting, like some wushu, kung fu, old school classic movie stuff fighting.
Well, we know that we're also getting a level cap to 70 increase, so these could also be new moves that they're introducing.
Like a flowier.
Yeah, between 50 and 60, they kind of reinvented a lot of these classes. What's to say that they're not going to do something similar from 60 to 70?
You're probably giving the most logical answer.
or there is that, as you mentioned before, that whole combat revamp that they're trying to do. Maybe as part of that revamp, monks are going to get more dancer-ish attributes, so they have
Like-
more flowing fighting style.
More jazz hands, and the old, yeah. It's gonna be like Kung Pao Enter the Fist.
Only if we get fighting cows.
Actually, I was hoping we get one guy that's top bad on purpose. I'm bleeding, making me the victor.
I don't know. I think we were playing with some of them last weekend. This weekend.
Probably. Good old internet. Never change. Alright, I maybe just want to go out on that, actually. Alright, so we talked a little bit about our memories from, so really quick, closing thoughts. We'll do some closing thoughts on the whole Red Mage. So, real quick, what are your closing thoughts on that?
I don't know enough about Final Fantasy history. I think the Red Mage is going to come in and change a whole bunch of things. There's going to be people that are going to be really angry. There's going to be people that think it's awesome. Personally, I'm hoping for something that would be kind of like a new sort of DPS style. I would really like to see a new healer, but I don't see the Red Mage as that new healer right now. Although I'm hoping that one of the other classes is definitely going to be a healer.
I do know Final Fantasy history, and knowing that the Red Mage is really is the jack of all trades, the master of none. In Final Fantasy 14, I don't know if you could have that and it make it viable class. But I kind of believe Yoshi P to me is that guy that's like the kind of gaming, like the guy that I want making a game, because he would be like the guy that's like, that sounds like a challenge, just let's see if we can make it work. Like, just crazy enough to see, like, how, like, can we get it, can it fit in, because really, they really want to bounce between all the classes. So I want to see if he's the kind of guy that'd be like kind of like the Crocodile Dundee, like, where he's, like, like, walking up to an alligator like this, he's, like, he's got no fear, he's like, I'm going to make it my pet, and, like, just walk up. That's the worst Australian accent ever, please. You don't come to Maelstrom Radio for the accents, I hope. I don't know. I think we're in agreement here where we don't know. Listen, I would want the cool book that does both. I will take Battle Mage.
I will also just take a really cool, useless fluff spell that makes me summon a weapon out of a book.
Yeah, just for funsies.
Just for fun.
Nothing on Dancing Monk Ida. Although Hunklander is now no longer Derplander, he's now Hunklander, as the internet likes to refer to him. So, after 2 years and you got a little money, you can get a little makeover. So, maybe in a couple years when we make, all sorts of buku bucks, we'll get makeovers and we can be both Hunklanders. He can't. I hope he's not looking at me, shake my head no, because it's not gonna happen. Somebody out there will think we're hunks. Somebody. All right. So from this week, we did like we talked about. We didn't really game all too much last week. We did game a lot on Saturday for Extra Life. You probably saw the link in chat. If you didn't see it, I'm gonna make it do a thing again because I can't. Boop. There it is. There's the link in chat again. So if you have the extra coin or gil, and you could see it to donate $1, anything you can. It's for a good cause. We are a mere, what was the math? $35 away from goal. We're gonna keep that up. You're gonna see us stream more this week. Stream again this weekend. We'll do it till we hit goal. We'll do it till we surpass goal, and we'll just keep doing it until they tell us, "Hey, you guys can't do it anymore. You guys got to stop."
Just gonna keep going.
Yeah, just keep asking us for money. So some news about like I said, we promise that iTunes will be up this week. Sorry for being really lazy about that, but we promise it'll be up. We really do mean it this time. Don't hate us, because I know a lot of you may bounce out of the show early. You do want to come back and listen, and sometimes you're like, hey dude, it's easier for me to just plug this in my card and just go. So I promise you will get it. We have all the audio uploaded to the thing. We just gotta run through stuff and it'll be there. Thank you to everybody that was in chat tonight. Ockmorn, Chili, Aces and Eights. Appreciate you guys coming out, listening, joining in, just joking with us in chat. You can find more of us on, well, iTunes this week. We'll tweet that out. We'll tweet out when we're up on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play. But you can find us more at maelstromradio.com. You can email the show at show@maelstromradio.com. If you have a suggestion or a topic or stuff that you think we should talk about, we're kind of good at theory crafting. I mean, we've played a lot of MMOs, so I got a knack for it. I could tell you how to make a laser cannon work in this game. Ask me how one episode. Not today. Our Twitter is at maelstrom_radio. You can find us there. Usually, if I'm not tweeting about the show, I'm tweeting about other people's shows, and I'm not doing that. I'm usually joking. Most of the time, it's me tweeting. Shin's out there too. He'll poke out every once in a while and tweet out. And then you can find us here at twitch.tv/Maelstrom Radio. We also have a YouTube. I don't have an official youtube.com/Maelstrom Radio. We don't have that yet. We need more followers to get that. So if you do a search on YouTube for Maelstrom Radio, you'll see our symbol, the MR, the Mr. symbol. If you didn't know, that's the Mr. symbol. Mr. MR stands for Maelstrom Radio. Also, if you didn't know, our fun fact: our Maelstrom Radio symbol is actually it's a maelstrom. It's Maelstrom. Yeah, it's a thing. Smart idea. Look for us. Give us a follow. That helps us out as well. Share the show. Share us. Share our Twitter. We reach 100 followers on Twitter. We will have a contest of some sort. Probably a minion or time card. We'll give you something. Just get us to 100. Thank you to all the shows over the last couple of weeks that have given us props, and it's cool hearing our names so many times in other people's show, because I don't think we're that great. I think we're good. I don't think we're great. You guys are great. We're getting there. So thank you all so much, because I consider us half serious, half comedy, and I think we fill in the comedy really well. I would like to hope that we deliver on the comedy. If not, we really need to work on that. I'll start taking classes if I need to. And we're okay about video games. We kind of know about them. Do play them for most of my time. So with that being said, I got nothing left. Shin, you got anything left?
Nope, I think we're good.
Sounds awesome. None of my music wants to work today.
Having a great time tonight with this tech stuff.
Right? It's starting to work. Anyway, guys. Right? Anyway, guys. For Shin, my name is Flatus. This has been Maelstrom Radio. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us tonight on Monday. We will see you all next week.
Thank you for listening to Maelstrom Radio. Today's episode is produced by Shintru Zarek and Flatus, aka Cypher Blackfire. You can find us on the web at www.maelstromradio.com. You can email the show at show@maelstromradio.com. You can find us on Twitter at maelstrom_radio and on Twitch at twitch.tv/maelstromradio. We're also on Facebook at facebook.com/maelstromradio. The intro provided by Benjamin Anthony James, and the outro provided by Soto. And until Sea Swallows all, we'll see you next time.